Tony's not the person you want around when you're trying to have a hard conversation with somebody else. That's the truth. Because you do that.
I do that?
Let's say Doi was talking to like Felix, Zeus, or me, or anybody. As that conversation's progressing, you'll be in the background like hitting hip-hop ad-libs. Every time somebody, oh, he said you got a big head. Like, he's just adding to everything that's being said. And it's like, everything now stings like 10 times more just by having this fucking ghoul in the background. Like, just shitting on everybody.
Let's be correct here. Yeah, this is the absolute disrespect. Anyways, man, why does communication fail between family, friends, and co-workers?
Because Tony doesn't listen normally.
Damn, see,
Tony definitely doesn't use enough words.
How this shit just became me now? This is all right.
You asked the question.
Me. That's awesome.
You just asked the question.
That's crazy. It's just that people don't want to listen to the CEO. That's the real problem here.
I think the main breakdown in communication happens when, and I'm not picking on you, Tony, but people don't share enough information, and they just assume that the other person knows what they're talking about. So then somebody's confused, and somebody goes and it's like, yo, trying to ask for clarification, and those questions of clarification creates fights. When in reality, the first person should have volunteered more information.
My mentor likes to say that in the absence of information, people will always assume the worst. I find it to be mostly true, especially like in my everyday work. Like, if you're not responding to something, someone's assuming you're not working on it. Like that's going to be the assumption.
I would say over communication is also another one of those failure ones too. Too much information is also bad.
It can be. You send me an email and it's just a paragraph. I'm going to skim it. I'm not reading all of that.
and like another thing too is like when you're communicating, like there's 4 people in a group and 2 people are going back and forth, and then one person chimes in and be like, wait, what are you who you talking to or whatever. It's like, it's kind of evident. It's like it's there. Like you see 2 people are going back and forth. Like with Pucho, right? It's a perfect example. Me and Dobo would be talking, Pucho would be like who are you talking about? And they'd be like, what are you confused about? Just read what I'm saying, and you'll understand that I'm talking to Doughboy. I'm only responding to him.
You also have conversations with 2 people at the same time.
Correct.
No.
But I'm the bad guy.
I didn't say you was a bad guy. I'm just saying, as an example, that's what me and Doughboy were talking, and you'd just be like, oh, confusion.
Nah, I think it's you not using enough words. Doy will ask a question, and I'll ask a question at the same time, and then you'll just respond yes. And I'm like, not sure who you're responding to.
Yep.
That was one of your responses this week.
Directly to you.
Literally,
it was not.
The letter O, enter, forgot, enter. Oh, forgot.
Oh, forgot.
Forgot. But no, I think a lot of that too goes with like people are afraid to approach. You know what I mean? Like at jobs, like a lot of people are afraid to approach their boss or someone else, thinking that their idea might be dumb. So that could also lead. I mean, just the fear of your job could lead to you're not communicating enough. Family, it's always going to be someone's opinion is better than the other. I think
with family, people tend to just respond emotionally. Like people just drop all logic out of their lives whenever they're talking with their family, and it's pure emotion.
Yeah.
I think with family and friends, you have the baggage of the thousands of conversations that have already happened.
Yes.
Like, for example, people when I say people, I have a few friends that include Tony that claim things like, I always need to be right, or I always do that. Well, I don't know what that is, or they say that. Oh, you always do that. when I'm just trying to have like a regular ass conversation, but it's just like I must have done something one time that they've categorized as bad. And then like after that, anytime I do anything that's even close to that, even though I'm not intending anything like that, I'm just maybe asking a simple ass question. Instead of them actually engaging in a conversation, it now becomes about the thing that I did. And it's like, oh
What-
man, I thought we were just having a conversation.
What is the claim? Because I've seen these claims before. Where it's like, that's classic Bucho. He just asked 20 questions and now suddenly he wins the argument because you get tired of arguing with them or whatever.
There's a bunch of claims. There's mathematical pooch, right? There's
Technical pooch.
technical pooch. It's the same thing. Or never wrong pooch. Or
Never
the
wrong.
defender pooch. And that's only a thing to Doughboy. He always defends Doughboy, takes Doughboy's side. And that's what one of our friends, mutual friend, be like, oh, classic Pucho shit. Just always taking someone's side, and no matter what, we can't tell him different because he knows everything.
I think you guys are just jealous that I have a smart friend.
So is he not my
I
friend?
agree. Now, so usually the way this goes down is this, right? Somebody says something like, red paint is the best paint. I don't even have an opinion on paints, but I'll just be like, what do you mean red paint is like based on what? And I would just ask them a series of questions trying to like pick their brain. And then I point out inconsistencies in the things that they're telling me. And now they're interpreting this as I don't think red paint's the best paint.
And it's
They're
But
just team
I
blue
actually
paint.
don't have an opinion about this. I'm just trying to understand their opinion. And this line of questioning, of trying to understand like what someone is saying, will result in them getting angry with me about something.
You'll be like, I like flowers. And Pucho's like, if those flowers were covered in shit, would you like them? You'll be like,
No,
no.
no,
And
no,
he'd be
no,
like,
no.
inconsistent.
No,
That's actually
no,
a good
no.
example because Pucho does to
no.
make
That
his
is
point. To make his point, he'll go from to the extreme. There's no like.
Nah.
Nothing in
People,
between.
no, that's a bad example. It'd be
Yeah,
more important.
yeah.
It'd be more serious. Like someone will say, killing is always wrong. And I'm like, really? Like I could think of a few ways that we could agree killing is not wrong.
I was gonna
So,
say,
like-
Bucho fights absolutes with other absolute, like with statements to pick at the absolutes. I know that Bucho does not like absolutes.
Right. I'm not saying okay, oh, what if the flowers are covered in shit? It's like that's like a weird one. But I do, if somebody makes a crazy claim that I know they don't agree with, that's really my main frustration. People like to make statements that I know they don't really agree with if they thought about it for more than 4 seconds. I try to point out, you don't really believe this. You believe something different. And they get pissed off about that. They're like, I'll get at the end this like reluctance agreement. Like, if you want to put it like that, then sure.
Yeah, sure.
It's
I have morals.
Yeah, Doi once told me he has morals.
Unlike
Doi,
you,
Doi believes in
I
God
have
and I don't.
morals.
Doi told me, I've got moral. I don't know about you, but I've got morals.
I do want to
was
go
like-
back
I
to
was like, oh God.
what Pucho said about the baggage of conversations. I think that's a huge point to like have a conversation with your friends or family. The amount of baggage or like, you know, like the conversation that just goes left and you just get tired of it. Already having a conversation about a disagreement that you guys have, even if it's a complete normal conversation, no screaming, no cursing, no yelling, you already are at the highest point of I don't even give a fuck if you're not even gonna willing to talk to me, and that right there is a negative. Even if you're the person that's always the right one, you bring in that baggage to the conversation, you're the one that's gonna be in the wrong every time. It's because you can't bring previous conversations into a new conversation. The baggage part of it, I would say.
I think if those situations go unresolved, I think you have an issue.
That's also another,
Especially if they
another
get bad
communication
and you
thing.
don't talk about it afterwards and like come to terms. I think that's the reason why this podcast has like longevity is that if we do have issues, we talk it out. I don't think we have anything unresolved right now.
I don't
So
think
I
we've
think,
got any unresolved stuff currently.
yeah. And that's not to say that we're not going to fight in the future, but I think we make a good effort of, okay, shit's kind of hit the fan. We kind of have to regroup and talk.
We had like a good 20 episode run where we were pissed at each other the whole time. I was like, this is horrible.
Oh man.
It was like the fights were compounding. And not just for us, but in general, people have a tendency to not want to resolve conversations. Being in the thing that pissed everybody off is too upsetting for them. They just prefer to like walk away from that situation. But then the problem is that the other people involved have unresolved feelings. So then anytime anything else comes up, it's all coming out now. My problem, and people have called me an ammo bagger. My problem is, I think I do a pretty decent job of trying to compartmentalize, like, all right, this is somebody's like past mess ups. They're trying to be different. I'm gonna like try to judge them on like this like new stuff. What always gets me is that A, I don't forget anything, but B, if somebody has apologized for certain actions and they said they're going to be better and they start making attempts to be better and they're making these things, and then later I see them doing the same thing they apologized about before, now I just feel like you're back to that, and now I got to bring up like, bro, you remember when you apologized and said you wouldn't do this anymore? Like, and now and then it's like, sure, I am bringing up an old thing, but it's like, I feel like your actions opened up that bag of ammo, some would say. All right. It wasn't me.
Nah, I would agree with some aspects of that. Even like when you're arguing about little things, the side comments also don't help out with communications with anybody, friends, family, even your coworkers. Like if we're having a conversation about work and you want to chime in with just nonsense that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but you just wanted to take a stab at somebody, that derails the whole conversation. Now the honest one-on-one that you're having now becomes the banter of fuck you back and forth. Who's smarter at dissing somebody respectfully? You know what I mean? And I think that also is a huge part of the communication failure. Like, you know what I mean?
Tony's not the person you want around when you're trying to have a hard conversation with somebody else. That's the truth. Because you do that.
I do that?
Oh my God.
I don't do none of that.
Let's
Maybe
say Doey
the
was
old
talking.
me.
Let's say, no way. The old me. Let's say Doey was talking to like Felix, Zeus, or me, or anybody. As that conversation's progressing, you'll be in the background like hitting hip hop ad libs. Every time somebody, oh, he said you got a big head. Like he's just adding to everything that's being said. And it's like everything now stings like 10 times more just by having this fucking ghoul in the background. Like just shitting on everybody.
Let's be correct here. Yeah, this is an absolute disrespect. Let's be clear here.
Funny.
It ain't
Somebody
real.
said that's one of the side comments that derails.
It ain't a real conversation. I'm not doing that with real conversations. If it's a stupid debate or banter back and forth that are jokey jokes, I'm gonna ad lib that shit like fucking Takeoff. You know, I'm gonna ad lib the shit out of that. But if it's a real like, like Pucho and Doughboy's seriously going at it about I'm not gonna add ad libs. When they're done talking, I'm gonna say my piece. I'm gonna be like, I think you're wrong and I think you're bugging. That's what I'll do. But if like jokey joke shits, 100% Pooch, I agree with you. I'm gonna do the ad lib talks all day, every day, because it's funny.
I think the issue is the conversations aren't serious until they're serious. So we've been talking about who do you think the best NBA player is of all time? And it'll end in people telling each other to suck their dicks. Like, and it's like, how did we get here from there? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the jokey joke comments that you don't think are a big deal when you're just talking about who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan, are what led to two people like really insulting each other.
I don't think so. I think the secret attacks is what really gets somebody. Because let's say you and X person are going at it, and you be like, bro, I don't think you know enough about basketball. That right there is you're testing someone's knowledge now. And and I'm gonna say it, Zeus really prides himself on his knowledge of basketball. So the moment you tell Zeus, I don't think you don't know what you're talking about, that's it. Right there sets the first pullback of his thin skin when it comes to sports talk to open up a whole, I know more than you, this, that, and the third. So yeah, once you throw those little jabs, and then of course me coming in with the ad libs, that doesn't help.
Who's telling Zeus he doesn't know enough about basketball? I don't think I never heard anybody say that.
I'm just saying things that would get Zeus going. It's an example. I'm not saying you physically told him that, or
he said that to me, and I admit it. I'm not the most knowledgeable in sports,
and I think he hated that even more.
I seed my, like, when I'm having conversations, I'll look to like Breezy and Zeus because they know way more about basketball, especially Breezy. Breezy just looks like he got ESPN on all the time. Like he's just like injecting all the sports. He knows soccer, the tennis, the basketball, all the things. He's injecting right into his
He needs the Apple Vision, dude. He could just have ESPN up on the little screen all day.
That's crazy. Yeah. But no, I think ad-libs definitely depending on how the conversation is going, you can read the room. Jokes do, but I don't know how many heated arguments I got with you, Pooch.
A lot.
And it'll just be one or two words. And it's probably usually on my end that I would set the tempo of pissing people off. But
I have a slick mouth. So I have a tendency to say things that I'm like, your skin should be thick enough, like whatever. And sometimes you got thin skin, Not you. Just people. Maybe the insult is worse than I thought. Things like that. Like I'll say a thing that I don't think is that serious. It turns out to be pretty serious, and I can't get a hold of the conversation. Even in the conversation, I'm saying, "Yo, my bad. I said that. That was wrong. Whatever." It's like you can't salvage it. It's fucked.
Yeah, once you said it, it's pretty fucked. And for the most part, I have thick skin.
I have a defensive issue. When I have something, I want to protect it. And I'm like, for some reason, I'm like that with anything that I'm talking about. But no, I just
like, how dare you insult Turok?
Yeah.
It's usually bicycles. You can't talk about bicycles to do it. He won't let you even talk. As soon as he hears you're about to start disagreeing with him, he'll just start talking over you. He won't accept any bike slander.
Or even music slander, too. Maybe Doe, he's really harped on music. But yeah, for the most part, like defensive attacks, all this stuff, when me and Doughboy get in arguments, that's almost nearly a lot. It's mostly because of how he approached the situation. Approaching someone in a conversation, knowing what ticks them off, is another huge key to like not starting off. Like if you tell me, you always doing this shit, those starting off conversation points is already a wall up of attacks now. Now I'm on the defense. So learning how to approach certain people or conversations, I think you should treat every conversation with somebody maybe like a job, because you don't want to start a fight at your job.
I also think
but you say that, and like somebody will come with the most lukewarm criticism and people will be so pissed. And it's like, I know that if this conversation was happening at your job, it wouldn't piss you off. You're mad at who's delivering the message. And so it's like, there's no nice way to say, like, you know, some of the conversations we have, like people not doing the things they need to be doing and things like that. Like that's a conversation where you just need to be like, hey, look, man, we said we were gonna do this stuff. We're not doing it. What can we do differently? Like, what's the approach here? And it's like that conversation will piss somebody off.
Yeah, it derails immediately. It's like, how dare you ask me about the TikToks when the Instagrams haven't even, like, it turns into this whole pride, like, fuck you kind of thing.
When Doey stops wearing beige hats to the podcast, then and only then will I start editing more videos throughout the week. And it's like, what?
It's like, we don't have topics yet. Yeah, but Doey's always talking into his mute mic. So what are we going to do about it?
That's how the conversations be feeling.
What are we going to do about that?
So like, I feel like earlier this week, I don't remember what it was. Doey said something that pissed Tony off. And I was typing it, but the conversation like progressed. And I was like, whatever. But I was like, I wonder if somebody else, not Doey, said this, would it piss you off? And I feel like the answer is no, you wouldn't have got pissed off. And then I'm like, I was just like, man, that's interesting. Like, because I feel like the person who delivers a message matters. So this is why sometimes we'd be saying, yo, you call so-and-so. You call them. Like, you know, we don't want, like, because if they get a call from certain people, you know, it's just going to hit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
It's
when I
definitely the
type
approach.
anything and you have to hear it in my voice in your head, it's always like shitting on you or something. I feel like you read my messages in like a snarky way or something.
You do be eating a lot of Taco Bell, though. Like, you be shitting all over the place.
Perfect example. Today about the fucking
Just getting
the
too
damn
meta.
TikTok shit. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's like I read it and heard it through his voice, like he said right now. I
was
heard
gonna
his
say,
voice in my head, and I was aggravated. I don't know.
Do we read the messages in our One Up podcast chat in each other's voices? I hear y'all's voices when I read.
Yeah,
we
I do.
talk so often now because we talk once a week.
I do. I definitely do. I wonder if anybody else, like, if the viewers and listeners out there, if you guys deal with this too, comment. Because it's like when you're reading a message from somebody, I do it all the time. I don't, even if I don't talk to them every day, and if I remember their voice and how they sound like, I'm reading it how they would say it or the sound. So yeah, I think that's another indicator too of like
There's people that are more fleshed out. Y'all, like the mental image I have of y'all whenever I'm reading is more fleshed out than other people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, communication is a key in every fucking thing.
I didn't even think about text till now, but some people don't like to use punctuation or grammar in their text messages. It makes it really hard to understand what people are saying.
What is
Like
your take on that, Tony?
earlier.
What's my take on it? I think people just
What
need
did
to
Tony say
fucking-
earlier? Tony said, I'm scrolling.
I like how this topic became like an
What did he say?
like behind the back door podcast talk conversation.
That priceless coming from you.
That's
Like,
priceless
reading it out
coming from-
loud, yeah. Like you add the S, it makes perfect sense. But I was like, what is he saying? I couldn't, I swear to God, I could not understand what you were saying. But that's an example of me genuinely not understanding what you could be saying and y'all being like, you know what I'm saying. You're just being an asshole. Like
You have
and
to
I'm
read
never,
the message.
I never
though.
do that.
That's
I
my.
never do
That's
that.
the problem. You don't read the message before. Doe telling
No,
somebody.
I read the message. I knew exactly what you were responding to.
Oh, so then
I
what's the
didn't
con-
understand what you were using the word. You're saying like that's priceless coming from you, right? I was reading priceless as a noun, like that thing coming from you, not an adjective. So I was like, what is he saying? I was like, is he trying to like shift the blame to somebody else? I was like, I honestly couldn't understand what you were saying.
And that's the
but really you
defensive-
were saying you can't criticize me. That's really what you're saying, which is a whole different problem. But
Actually,
but
that's, that's pretty on. Yeah,
I
that's pretty
just
on
want to
point.
focus on the communication part. Like typically this conversation, you got a little hostile for no reason, but with me,
Me?
but
That's crazy.
You said, "What's the confusion?" And then you said, "Just read the messages."
Why are you
That make
reading
sense.
it like that, though? See, that's how he knows he's listening to my sound in his head. Because this is how I said it. This is how I said it. What's the confusion? That's how I'm texting that sound-wise.
This is why we used to have the voice chat roll in our chats.
Yeah, when debates go on, you have to use voice chat so we can understand tones because it's just
The
like...
problem with the voice chat is you can't search it, though.
Yeah, I don't like the voice chat.
That's weird. They need
that
to
and you
deal
guys
with-
talk way too slow. Something about voice chat, like when we're having a conversation is fine, but when you're on voice chat, every voice chat starts like this. Yeah. So what I was saying,
Yo,
and
this
there's
is
so much
savage.
dead air, and I'm like, I cannot listen to this. And like I've been trying to like skip through it, but you can't really skip through voice. It's bad. I'm like, I want to like
Jesus.
play it on 2x speed or something.
I think they
Jesus
just
will
I,
start
I
hitting
think they
you
just
with-
changed it. I think you can play it in 2x speed now.
Oh wow, that's nice.
What Zeus?
Zeus will hit you with a random ticket. With that being said,
Shout out to Zeus. With that being said, let's do a shout out.
with
to
that being
Zeus.
said, yeah.
Facts.
Zeus loves saying "with that being said," and I like to just say that it isn't good to say, mostly because he loves it so much. It's just a stupid conversation we have a lot, but
But yeah. Well,
With that being
ladies,
said.
with that being said, if you stuck with us through this whole entire episode, hit the share, subscribe button, drop a comment, let us know what you think, if you like it, if not. Even tell us what parts of communication failure happened with your friends, your family, coworkers, or even if you have a podcast. Drop it in and let us know, like, hey, you're not the only group of people who do pod with 4 people or, co-hosts that have problems on the side. Because I guarantee you, every podcast out there that has 2 or more has to have problems. It's just normal. It's an everyday thing. So, but as always, people, go one up yourself. Peace.